Vice-Chancellors of state universities positive about the proposals regarding SITEM. Voice Against Corruption reveals controversial bond audio recordings. Vimal Veeravangsa's bomb statement receives a blasting in Parliament. Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka given a UNP district organizer post. Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our News1st studios here in Colombo. I am Shahin Jurongpati.
And I'm Azra Hassan. Let's now take a look at the stories in detail. Views were expressed in Parliament today over the recent statement made by MP Vimal Veeravangsa on bombing the Parliament.
Past couple of days, there has been massive dialogue over this bombing statement. I think this is not something which should be taken any notice of, because Honourable Chairman, this person cannot even shoot a stone off a catapult straight, let alone bomb Parliament. What kind of a joke is this? He, a person who could not even spend a month and a half in remand prison, uses his wife and children for various things, and at the very end, stages hunger strikes. So his talks about bombing Parliament should not be taken any notice of.
The
person who is screaming from a far corner about bombing Parliament used to call me around 10 times a week back then. In these phone calls, he asked me permission to speak, Commander. When I tell him yes, go ahead, he asked me again for permission to speak or if he should call back later. So I asked him, what is the issue? He asked me over and over again, will they attack us too? A person who was so afraid at the time, today is talking about bombing Parliament. Back then he only played with firecrackers, let alone bomb anything. Not a single person who attempted to bomb this country's Parliament, its people and the sovereignty of this country has ever been successful to date. Neither are they alive today. You cannot even find their skeletal remains. If he is preparing himself to bomb Parliament, I am certain that he too may have to take on that same path. Vimal Veeravangsa's own party is split in two today. His party's national organizer is issuing statements to the media, blaming Vimal Veeravangsa for talking about unrelated matters rather than speaking on behalf of the issues of the people in the country in Parliament. They are solely putting the blame on him over the bombing statement. In time to come, the good details which happen inside the party will also be exposed. To everyone in that party, including P.S.C. Vijayanayaka, who now understand what is right, we call on you to cut your alliance with Cardboard Vangsa and join the People's Programme. The third debate on the interim report compiled by the Constitutional Assembly Steering Committee was extended till tomorrow at the request of a number of MPs. Here are some of the views expressed on the subject today.
This is not a constitution, nor is it a constitution document. The recommendations of the 6 subcommittees have not been taken into consideration yet. We are currently considering these reports. Both the President and myself have stated this. We will meet the Mahanayaka Theros separately. I am going to take up the proposals of the joint opposition. They state that they agree with the statement made by the Mahanayaka Theros regarding the creation of a constitution which does not harm the unitary state of the country and the protection of the Sambuddha Sasana. Not only you, even I agree with this. Everyone agrees with this, so let's get this done together. That corner over there is against this move. They say that the current executive presidency should change. Fine, let's discuss this as well. The Prime Minister should be selected by Parliament. Let's discuss this as well. The provincial council system should not be a threat to the unitary state of the country. Even I say this. We can all agree on these basics. Let's look at the powers and reach a decision.
The
Prime Minister presented the proposals of the joint opposition. However, the file that he has does not contain the proposals of the United National Party. It would be better if he could present the proposals of the UNP to the chamber as well. The Prime Minister is still working according to our agenda. He doesn't have an agenda. We have a doubt that no matter what the Prime Minister says, the final outcome will be different. There will be a different book that is presented. That will have a divided country. What is the status of the commissions that were created through the 19th Amendment? Mahinda Deshapriya was the Elections Commissioner. Now he is the Chairman of the Elections Commission. When he was the Commissioner, he said if someone enters an election centre illegally, shoot him in the head. Now when he is the Chairman of the Commission, he can't even state with certainty when the election will be held. Scarecrows have more power. When the 20th Amendment was brought to Parliament, we were amazed about the manner in which Parliament was adjourned. On one hand, they were stalling until helicopters were sent in search of MPs. They stalled for time until these MPs were brought into Parliament. Maternity leave was cancelled because of this.
I was not the speaker when the 19th Amendment was brought in. It was Honourable Samal Rajapaksa. I can state with responsibility that the 20th Amendment we were waiting for a document signed off by the Auditor General. We were not stalling for helicopters to arrive.
The other communities living in this country are also its citizens. If this country is ruled on the basis that it belongs to everyone, the country's future would be quite different. It is my opinion that this task should be fulfilled together with the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa for the betterment of the people of this country.
It is unfortunate that President Rajapaksa and members politically affiliated to him are today taking up a position which is diametrically opposite to what President Rajapaksa, in his capacity as President, told the APRC and the Experts Committee on 11th July 2006, shortly after he assumed the office of President. The inability of leaders to stand by what they accept and keep their commitments after they cease to hold power has been a major setback in our country. It is well known, sir, that our national issue has become internationalized because of the blunders we have committed and because we have not been able to amicably resolve the national question ourselves. What we ask is that democracy be regarded as supreme. We have been cooperating with the new government, with the present government in that regard. But we want international pressure to come to an end. We want the problem to be resolved domestically. But please remember that if you do not resolve the problem domestically, international pressure will only get worse and become more and more difficult in time to come. Separation is not good for the country. It's not good for the Tamil people. And we want the people of this country to oppose any candidate who espouses separatism.
An event was held in Colombo last evening to mark the 25th anniversary of the Lanka Confectionery Manufacturers Association.
The event saw the participation of several ministers and members representing the Lanka Confectionery Manufacturers Association.
For some reason or other, Sri Lankans got out the best quality confectionery in the whole of South Asia. Well, I was thinking another industry that we started in 77, which was called the Jangi industry. Now the Jangi industry is global. So how do we now push you all out and give you encourage you to take a bigger portion of the global trade? Is that we have a hell of a lot of debts to pay. The next 2 years is just 3 trillion on debt repayment. We have about 600 billion left for development. So we have to find new ways of revenue, also to get into a low tax regime.
In Colombo today, the Infotel National ICT Exhibition was organized in line with the 25th anniversary of the Federation of IT Industry in Sri Lanka under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
I remember the first being Tata, Infosys and Wipro was hotly contested by some of the members who said that I was a traitor. So well, they won out. We got $1 billion. Because I think that was the confection industry is bringing about fair amount. Anyway, if they expose, they are making it. So what's the difference? The CD board industry is doing much better than the IT industry. We are the highest per capita income in the region. So we have to upgrade our skills and go to the next level of development. We cannot be a middle income economy paying the wages of a low income economy. will now be a middle income economy, paying the wages of middle income economy and then going up. That means there has to be a change in the type of jobs. Now what can you all do to expand immediately? We have given you new tax concessions and we based it on the salaries, not on capital allowances. Now when can you give us $10 billion?
Our cameras captured footage of the Prime Minister during the close of the ceremony when the national anthem was being played.
The Gazette notification, which established local government bodies, was ratified by Subject Minister Faisal Mustafa. The Gazette will pave the way for the local government elections to be held.
I have fulfilled my responsibilities regarding this election. Now it is the Elections Commission's job to take the necessary steps. They spoke about bats and balls. They said that I was stroking balls. Now the pitch is prepared. The Elections Commission has to play the game either with the bat, the ball or the football.
The Committee of Vice Chancellors and Directors of Sri Lanka State Universities announced today the series of proposals submitted by the Presidential Committee appointed by President Maithripala Sirisena on SITEM can be accepted as positive and constructive. A release bearing the names of 15 university vice-chancellors stated that since a positive solution has been created for all medical students of state universities to continue their education and clinical training, the vice-chancellors insist that they engage in their academic work with immediate effect. The release adds the Committee of Vice-Chancellors decided to release this statement, having thoroughly considered the harmful impact made on the health sector in the country due to the absence of students from their academic work in all state medical faculties during the past number of months, as well as the uncertainty created on the future of medical students.
It was revealed today that the Cabinet of Ministers had focused on Lanka during yesterday's meeting.
It was said that Lanka will be dissolved. The debt, however, stands at 4.686 billion rupees. 1.1 billion rupees is owed to the People's Bank and there is a debt of 1.7 billion to Sri Lankan Airlines. Who will be repaying this debt?
These loans have been taken from state banks. These need to be settled. It was revealed yesterday that Mahinda Rajapaksa, Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Sajin Vas served as directors of the company. They have brought aircraft and various other things without any tender procedure. Lanka was created merely for a political reason. Political henchmen were appointed to it. They are not people who would even know how to tighten a screw. When people like that get together and create an airline, it will incur losses.
Will there be a presidential commission to inquire into this?
It was discussed yesterday.
Will the license be provided to another company?
The license is open. We discussed the matter with the Qatari Emir. He expressed his consent and a team from Qatar arrived in the country on Saturday of that same week. We arrived on Friday. They arrived in the country on Saturday. They returned back to their country on Monday to provide a report. They said they will return.
Has the government and the public forgotten this truth? Here are the company details of Lanka at its inception. According to this document, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, Air Marshal Roshan Gunathilaka and Sajin Divas Gunawardena are shareholders of the company. While they held only one share, they were also part of the board of directors at Lanka. Will the law be enacted against these people who have wasted public funds? Or will that burden too be placed on the general public?
Against the backdrop of much debate over the proposed free trade agreements with China and India, the chair of the Global Economy Program at the Lakshman Kadirgama Institute, Dr. Ganeshan Vignarajah, said the FTA with China is clearly political. He made these comments while delivering the lecture, A Recovering Global Economy, the Dynamics of China and India in the Future of Global Growth.
We should attempt to first try to get these two trade agreements done. And in terms of sequencing, for me, the one with China I think is the obvious one, because my sense of it is that is a political agreement. It's not an economic agreement, and you don't negotiate with China if you're a small country in the way we are, and China being the large market. It would be an everything but arms agreement, and we should ideally get access for 10 years before China comes and gets access to our market. And one hopes that that's what's being discussed, with a lot of special and differentiated treatment plus a trade adjustment bill. Yeah? If we get an agreement with China, I think we will get an agreement with India rather quickly for obvious reasons. So we should set out our stall in a very clear way, but the Chinese agreement to me is a very clear political agreement.
Everything But Arms is an initiative of the European Union under which all imports to the EU from the least developed country are duty-free and quota-free with the exception of armaments. Dr. Vignarajah said with increased maritime activity in and out of Sri Lanka ports, the Chinese would like to see a set of rules for international maritime management in the Indian Ocean.
And they would want a rules-based order because they're major investors in the future in Sri Lanka. And then the aid, of course, would be the other part of the engagement. And China is already here, as we all know, in the port in Hambantota, and they're offering a lot of technical assistance. We should take it, and I think we should try to manage that as best as we can.
Still in local news, the Voice Against Corruption organization released a number of telephone conversation recordings that are said to have taken place on the day of the impugned bond auction.
These are telephone conversation recordings from the moment the bond scam took place on the 27th of February 2015. You can listen to them.
අපි දානස මේ පොඩ සෙටල්මන්ට් ලොකු ගණක් આવුත් මම මට සෙට දාලා මම කරලා දෙන්න. මේ ETF ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ඩිරෙක්ට් බිට් කරන්නේ නැද්ද දැන්? බිට් කරනවා. බිට් කරනවද? ඔව්. ඒක through primary dealers නෙවෙයිද කරන්නේ? නෑ. නෑ. මේ කට්ටිය මේ මෙහෙන උඩින් මේගොල්ලෝ මේ බිට් කරන්නේ මේ මම මේ වැලුවේ ඒකයි. කවුද ඒවලා තියෙන්නේ? ඒවලා මේ අපේ කස්ටමර් කෙනෙක් මේවා වැදුනොත් එහෙනම් මේ මාකට් එක දෙයි හාමුදුරුවෝ මේ කොහේ යයිද දන්නේ නැහැ මට. ආද වැදුනා බොන්නේ කියන්නේ නේද? සර්ලට හම්බෙන්නද ගොඩක් නෑ. නෑ මං කිව්වා වැදුනා කියන්නේ අපි පොඩ්ඩයි කියන්නේ අපි තුන්. ඒකට ඒක සුග ගිහිල්ලා මේ රේට්ස් මේක නම් විනාශයක් දැන් අපිට ඔක්කොම මට කතා කරන්න බැරුව ඉන්නේ ඇත්තටම. ඒ මම සෙන්ට්‍රල් බැංක් කතා කරලා කිව්වා මොකද්ද මේ කරපු වැඩේ විතර වහපොතලයක් කියවන්න මේ. දැන් මම දැන් ආනන්දලට වෙනදම කිව්වා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට උදව් කරන්න ස්ටේට් බැංක් දෙකෙන් වැදගත් දිනේ ස්ටේට් බැංක් වලට කියන. ගවර්නර් ලෙවල් තියෙන ඔක්කොම බිට්ස් ගන්න කියලා. ඕක 12 මාර නෙවෙයි ඊට උඩ තියෙනත් ඔක්කොම ගන්න කියලා කිව්වා. ඊට පස්සේ කන්වින්ස් කරන්නම් බැරි වුණාලු. ඉස්ලාම්පාල වහකොප්පියකුත් එවන්න අපිට. වහකොප්පියකුත් එවන්න අපිට. ඉස්ලාම්පාල ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ අපි රේට් ඉන්ඩිකේෂන් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේකට ඕනේ ගානක බිඩ් කරන්න කියලා අපි කිව්වනේ ඉස්ලාම්පාල. I won't believe. Oh, it's between you and me. හරිද? Governor walked into the department and told, take this bid, take at this level.
වගේන මට කතා කරන්න බැරුව ඉන්නවා මේ විශ්වාස කරනවද මේ?
ඕ මේක මාර ෂොක් එකක් මාකට.
ඇයි එහෙම කරන්නේ ඉතින්?
ඉතින් ඉස්සරහට අපිට උත්තර කිව්වත් ඩිසිෂන් එක ගන්න යානේ.
එතන හරි අපිට තේරෙනවා. දැන් මොකක්ද බරිද පර්පස් behind?
එයාගෙන් මම අහන්න වෙන්නේ ඉස්සරහට.
මහ බැංකුවේ ණය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ නෝනා කියනවා මේක සීක්‍රට් එකක් between you and me.
The officer from the Public Debt Department at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka says this is a secret between you and me. The governor had told them to accept all bids and he is the decision maker. Here is the evidence and it is clear who should be held accountable for this. P. Samrasiri has been made an advisor to the Ministry of Finance because he is a witness. Questions are raised because Ranil Wickramasinghe, Kabir Hashim and Malik Samaravikrama had visited the Central Bank. Arjuna Mahendan informed Coop he got approval after making a phone call to the Prime Minister. Therefore, the law needs to be enforced against everyone who is accused of being a party to this scam.
News First Zulfiq Farzan, who has been continuously reporting on the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, joins us now with more details about these telephone conversations.
Several of the conversations that were released to the media today by the Voice Against Corruption organization were previously played at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry when witnesses were summoned to testify before them. Now, most of the calls relate to conversations that took place between the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Bank of Ceylon, and also with the CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Kasun Palisena. Now, these conversations mainly relate to the bond auction that took place on the 27th of February 2015. In one phone conversation, Kasun Palisena is heard asking the Bank of Ceylon dealer JKD Dharmapala to place a bid on behalf of them at this 30-year bond auction. Twice, JKD Dharmapala questions Kasun Palisena why are PTL Treasuries Limited not placing a bid at that auction. However, Kasun Palisena says that they are doing so, but they wish that BOC or the Bank of Ceylon places a bid on behalf of them. After the auction had taken place, JKD Dharmapala also calls Steffi Fernando from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. She is an employee at the Public Debt Department. In that phone conversation, the recording was also released today to the media. JKD Dharmapala is heard asking Steffi Fernando to give him a small cup of poison. This is after the auction had taken place. The reason why he says is because the Central Bank of Sri Lanka at that auction had accepted bids more than what was on offer, and the rate was extremely high. And that is why JKD Dharmapala says to send them a cup of poison. Now, the people connected to these phone conversations have testified before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. They are Kasun Palisena, the Chief Executive Officer of Perpetual Treasuries Limited; Steffi Fernando, the Front Office Officer at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka attached to the Public Debt Department; and JKD Dharmapala from the Bank of Ceylon. This evidence is not something new to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. This evidence was led before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. However, this is the first time that this evidence has come out to the media, so that the general public will have the benefit of knowing what happened between these officers on the 27th of February 2015.
The suspects in the shooting, which was carried out yesterday in the Ire Gahadule area in Alpitia, have not yet been apprehended. The police media spokesperson said several teams have been deployed to investigate the incident.
The shooting last night injured the father and three sons aged 3, 7 and 13 of the same family and the driver, who were all travelling in the same car. They have been admitted to Balapitia and Batapola hospitals. Our correspondent stated that the condition of the 3-year-old child that was injured is critical. 45-year-old Asanka Manuraj, who was injured in the incident, is a resident of Batapola. The preliminary investigations have revealed that the shooting was carried out by two shooters who arrived at the location on a scooter. Several criminal activities were reported from the south over the past couple of years. A conflict between rival gangs who deal with drugs and extortion have led to these accelerated criminal activities in the south. A person identified by the name Podilasi was accused of the murder of the chairman of the Rotkama Pradesh Sabha, Manoj Mendis. Manoj Mendis was accused of murdering Podilasi's father, Thelwata Vasanta. After Podilasi was remanded for the murder of Manoj Mendis, there was competition for the top spot of criminal gangs in the south. The group that operated under Manoj Mendis fought with members in Podilasi's group. Several lives were lost as a result. Podilasi, who was released on bail, reached an agreement with another gangster in the area, Koskoda Suji. They were both leaders of gangs opposing Manoj Mendis. There were accusations that Podilasi murdered a family in Madampe, including a child, on the 5th of December last year, as per contract provided by Suji. Koskoda Suji had entered the criminal gangs after being affiliated to another gangster identified by the name of Nadun. Makandure Madush and Suji, who are considered the heads of the criminal gangs in the south, are present. There is information to say that both these gang leaders employed ex-LTTE militants for their criminal activities. A recently arrested criminal by the name of Kennedy has also been recognized as having ties with the LTTE. It has been revealed that he was a member of the pistol gang of the LTTE. Joseph Kennedy, who was the chief suspect in the case, where two people were shot dead opposite the Balapitiya Court complex on the 6th of February 2015, is now in remand custody. The most recent target of Koskoda Suji was another criminal gang leader, Koskoda Loku. Koskoda Loku, who was murdered on the 8th of May, belonged to the gang that was led by Koskoda Tharaka. Tharaka murdered 3 relatives of Suji. These murders were carried out in Lelihettua, Kurundugampiyasa and Manikagama. 3 people were killed in the Lelihettua, and Jagamuni Mahindaraja was a relative of Suji. Last night, Tharaka's uncle and his children were shot at once again. The investigations have revealed that Tharaka had consumed alcohol at his uncle's house the night before the attack was carried out on the 29th. All these criminal gangs operate in the open with weapons, and children seems to be involved in the criminal activities.
As officials move up the ladder, they don't want to identify the issues and take the necessary steps. They want to sweep everything under the carpet and show that everything is clean. That is why this situation has escalated. There is always a politician behind any gang-related activity. Why can't we stop mobile phones getting into the hands of gangsters in prison? The comforts that they have outside is replicated inside as well. Sometimes staying in prison is safer for them because of rival activities. When they are imprisoned, they are safe from their rivals. At one point, they suppressed the gangs by kidnapping them. We are not doing such things. We bring them before the law. That is why most of the underworld leaders have fled the country. There is a massive operation against the underworld. Some are in custody, some are overseas.
Sri Lanka's rank in the Doing Business Index 2018, a World Bank Group flagship publication, has gone down by 1 position in comparison to last year.
Doing business measures regulations affecting 11 areas of the life of a business. 10 of these areas are included in this year's ranking on the ease of doing business: starting a business, dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, registering property, getting credit, protecting minority investors, paying taxes, and also trading across borders, enforcing contracts, and resolving insolvency. Doing business also measures labour market regulation, which is not included in this year's ranking. Sri Lanka is ranked 111th among 190 countries. Malawi has been ranked at the 110th position this time around. Sri Lanka held the 110th position on the same index last year. New Zealand has secured the top position on the list, while Somalia is ranked last. Malaysia is ranked 24th. Thailand is ranked 26th. Vietnam 68th. And Indonesia at 72nd. India is ranked as a 100th country, as improvement of 30 positions in comparison to last year.
The World Bank has released its half-yearly flagship report on Sri Lanka's economy, future outlook and policy priorities.
The release says, to sustain growth, job creation and poverty reduction, Sri Lanka needs to move to a more private investment, tradable sector-led growth model. The World Bank's report recognizes Vision 2025 as a roadmap that outlines such a shift. While Sri Lanka's growth, especially in the agricultural sector, was affected by the impact of floods and drought in the first half of 2017, the World Bank projects that Sri Lanka's economy will recover in the second half and reach 4.6% growth over the full year. The update identifies some key reforms required to improve a business-friendly environment and remove barriers to trade such as tariffs, inefficient border clearance procedures, among other constraints. In addition, it lists the drafting of a comprehensive public financial management law, meaningful progress on the debt management agenda, and passing of the Audit Act as priorities that must progress.
Up next is our investigative journalism segment, Action TV.
Whenever a vacancy opens up, there is no method in the private sector to call for applications only from differently able persons. Likewise, such a system does not exist for the government sector as well. Yet, whenever a vacancy is advertised, people in a civilized society do not discriminate and put in clauses which state that differently able persons cannot apply. It seems that officials of the North Central Province have forgotten this simple fact, and because of their actions, 4 persons, including these 3 visually impaired graduates, have been languishing in limbo. There's nothing called special appointments in the gazettes. Everyone faces the same qualifying exam and everyone faces the same interview. We don't understand what they are saying.
අපි ගිහිල්ලා ආවම බෑ කියලා කියනවා. හේතුව බ්‍රේල් මාධ්‍යයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වීම නිසාලු. විභාගයට බ්‍රේල් මාධ්‍යයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වීම නිසාලු. අපි බ්‍රේල් මාධ්‍යයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්නේ නැතුව කොහොමද විභාගයක් ලියන්නේ?
Action TV will have more details tomorrow.
Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake has been appointed as the UMP organizer for the Gampai district.
Kitseri Manchanayaka was appointed to the position of UNP Developity organizer, which was earlier held by Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake.
District Sangvidayakama hammune mata tibune.
I was
We apologize for the minor technical glitch, but we would like to apologize once again for the minor glitch we experienced early on. But you can catch the story on our website www.Newsfirst.lk.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Mazra Hassan.
And I'm Shahan Jarampati. Good night and take care.